Hey, good morning, everybody. I think we're live here, just making sure. Yes, we are. Okay, let me turn my volume down because I was watching other coverage out in Texas. But I wanted to go live really quickly and obviously highlight this storm here near Manny. It just passed over, in fact. Let me go back a few minutes here. Yeah, this one tracked right across Manny. Look at that pulse up right there. I'm thinking we probably at least saw some golf balls out of this, and it's still looking pretty intense out here around Fort Jessup. Let's pull up the information on this storm. Yeah, it is 70% chance of severe hail. We have a hail up to golf ball size per this here. The BTI is 3, so that's a 1 to 10 scale. This is north of the warm front, so the tornado threat is low, but the hail threat is quite high with this system that is now just to the northeast of Manny, around Fort Jessup. Let me see here, that severe thunderstorm watch here. Let's go to the warning. This is until 11:30 a.m., and this includes Sabine and Natchitoches Parish, and I'm looking to see if we have any reports. Please give me reports. If you are up in this area and you have experienced hail, I would love to know how big it is. That really helps us out to know these things. I know we had penny-sized hail around Sibley Lake earlier with some storms, and these storms north of the warm front are going to be packed with hail, the stronger ones, of course. I will look at the velocity just in case, checking it out here, and there's rotation in this storm aloft. That's typical. It's just not making it down to the surface because we don't have that surface-based instability, but you can clearly see here that there is mid-level rotation with this storm right there, and this is the area right there where we're seeing the potential for hail just northeast of Manny. It's kind of disorganized here, but that rotation is going to be a part of any supercell thunderstorm, and we see that aloft here, not tight near the surface, but it is something to monitor, even though we don't think we're going to see this become something tornadic because, again, it is north of the warm front. Looks a little bit better now, but I still think we're seeing hail near Fort Jessup. So if you are on the edge of this warning here along Highway 6 between Fort Jessup and Robeline, Hazelwood, out into that area, you could see some hail from this system. And then down the line here, Natchitoches. Actually, this is the Lake Charles radar. Let me take a different tilt here and go up into the Shreveport radar. And that's going to show us a little bit better here that hail core remains. Let me look at their information from that radar. Hail size up to 2 inches off this. Again, BTI is low, and there is just a lot of water and ice up in this system, so we are seeing the hail threat really materializing today. As I said here just a bit ago, we do have, hold on one second, we have a new discussion coming in. Yeah, this is going to be a tornado watch coming shortly for the rest of the area. We'll get to that in a second. But right now, these elevated storms to the north of the front, these are the main show with hail locally. Out west, you do see that we do have tornado warnings out here. These are not the purple tornado warnings, so these are not confirmed right now. But we have seen confirmed tornadoes out across southeast Texas this morning, and these continue on to the northeast. Let me put it in motion here. I know a lot of people want the timeline on this stuff. Of course you do. I mean, I do too. But I think really the threat is going to mainly be here from now through about 6 or 7 this evening. It's not going to be just a one and done here. We can see these storms continuing to produce issues as they move across the area, and you see we have others coming out of Texas. We could see new storm development here across the area where that warm front's lifting north, and that warm front's going to stall out. To the north of that, we have the large hail threat. To the south of that and along that, we have the large hail damaging wind and the tornado threat, and yes, we could see strong tornadoes out of this today as things continue to increase. And I'm just going to go through and read the highlights off this because I have not seen it yet. It was just issued here at 11:04, so 4 minutes ago. This is a mesoscale discussion. This discusses an area that's fairly small, and it's going to give us a discussion on what's going on with things. And I see that comment there from Megan about hailing in Manny. If you could get me a size on that, that would be absolutely awesome. I'm not asking you to go out and get a picture or anything. I know, that's not safe, but I'd love to know an estimate if possible. Anyone getting that hail up in Manny. So the discussion right now from the Storm Prediction Center says a threat for tornadoes, possibly strong and very large hail, will develop this afternoon along the warm front in central Louisiana into southern Mississippi, and that's what we've been talking about. So a tornado watch is going to be issued, a 95% chance of that being issued, which basically, certain, going to be issued here in the next little bit. Upper 60s dew points are present south of the slowly lifting warm front across central Louisiana and southern Mississippi. I'm going to try to get through any of the stuff that doesn't matter to you. We've heated up a bit. CAPE, which is our measure of instability, is up around 1,000 to 1,500. That is plenty adequate for supercells. Deep layer shear is more than adequate for supercells, which are already ongoing in southeast Texas and moving roughly parallel to the warm front. And that's what we don't want to see. When these things do anchor along the warm front, again, this here is north of the warm front. When they are able to anchor on that warm front and tap into that increased shear, these storms become very dangerous. So we're going to be watching this one that's north of Woodville, Texas. We're going to be watching this closely because if it does mature and really anchor to that boundary, that thing's going to turn right and it's going to head right in toward Vernon, maybe southern Sabine, southern Natchitoches, and northern Rapides down the line. That's 2 to 3 hours away, long fuse kind of thing here, but this storm bears watching as it has already produced tornadoes. So back to the discussion, this is a potential area right here where we are for additional storm development later today, which has been hinted at by recent HRRR runs. That's the model I love to use and I show you often. Mid-level ascent is currently weak, so it may take more time for any potential development to occur. Given the environment, tornadoes, some potentially strong and very large hail between golf ball and baseball size are possible. A tornado watch will likely be needed within the next 2 hours unless storms develop along the warm front sooner than anticipated. So there will be a tornado watch, and I think that's going to happen probably within the hour, most likely encompassing all of the parishes that are not included in any of these watches right now, and possibly we could possibly see the southern tier of parishes go to the tornado watch as well. That's just me kind of spitballing ideas of what they're going to do, but I do believe we are going to see that watch expanded. So let's go back into this storm. Take a look at that hail core near Fort Jessup. Right now it has pulsed down a little bit, down to about 1.5 inches is your threat to see on that. So we're looking at about ping pong ball size hail with this storm as it moves up toward Natchitoches. So I'd say garage the cars, but you're already in some heavy rain, and I'm guessing plenty of lightning. Let's look at it. Yeah, you're seeing lightning strikes around there. So it's not a great time to go out and do anything, but if you have the chance here, if you're, say, out here in Robeline, Hazelwood, those areas, and you have time to go ahead and get that car in the garage safely, I would go ahead and do that. There you go. City's popping up now. Robeline, Hazelwood, this right here, you have seen this before. This is the area we're looking at. These pinks and these blacks, that's where we could see the most significant hail. So that is just north of Highway 6 right now and continuing on toward the northeast. I'm going to take a look and see what we have on the hail swath here. And yeah, so this is where the hail started around Toledo Bend and moves on toward the northeast. Looks like the north side of Manny through Fort Jessup. And you can just kind of extrapolate that line out. This is probably going to continue on toward Hazelwood and Robeline. So if you're in those areas, it looks like some hail. Manny, golf balls. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Seeing these reports here. Yeah, so golf ball size hail, that is not surprising with that storm. I'm going to go ahead and take a look, see if we have any new information coming in. I don't see anything right now. The tornado warning, clip back a little bit. Okay. Yeah, this is the way this is set up here. With the warm front, initially, I was saying this was more of a scattered threat up until, I think yesterday morning. But this is becoming something that is going to be more widespread now. And we know that because that warm front is really anchoring up here and it's just going to kind of sit in the same spot. So what we could actually see here are storms moving across the same location too. So that could bring some heavy rainfall. But of course, your main threat today with that wind shear, lots of instability, that's going to be the severe threat with the tornadoes, the very large hail up to baseball size, and that's what we're going to be watching for, and that's what we've already, it looks like, seen some, let's see, we should have volume. It's good on my end. I think we are, I have no volume. I think we are set. 3/4 inch hail in Manny, 0.74 inches of rain. Thank you. That is what I'm looking for. Thank you for the reports, guys. This really helps. So that one is producing hail. So what that shows you is if you are, Robeline, if you're in Hazelwood, if you're even, Provençal, you're especially up toward Hazelwood in Provençal, or if you are further down the line here in Natchitoches, you see there are storms going on here, but the inflow into these these storms is still going to be from the south, so we're going to see that instability, that upper level and mid-level kind of instability. It's not surface-based. That's going to be coming into this storm. It's still going to have the fuel it needs to continue with this hail threat through just about into Robeline right now. That is just north of Highway 6, possibly seeing some hail down there along Highway 6, and that's going to continue up toward the northeast and eventually get into the western burbs there of Natchitoches. So if you are looking from Natchitoches, any of these communities just to the west, Hazelwood, Robeline, that's where this hail threat is going to be. But actually what I want to do real quick here is go over to, you know what, I'm all over the place here. What I'm going to do with this storm, and I'm going to zoom back in, sorry for all the motion here, it is stops here. I'm going to go and take a look vertically and see what we have going on with this storm, and take a vertical slice of this, and just take a peek in and see. This is just one of the cool things we're able to do with this, and I can kind of then look and see what's going on with this hail core, and if it's descending, ascending, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it looks like that hail core, it's still aloft. This is just a vertical cross-section of this storm. We're still seeing this spiking up to around 20,000 feet, so I'm going to go back a scan. Let's see. So if I go back a scan, sorry, I know it's a little weird and technical and all that stuff, but whoops, I hit the wrong button. I want to move it over. Yeah, it's a pretty good updraft going into this thing. We had some hail that has been suspended up in this, and it looks like it's sustaining. So as I go out, into present time here, it looks like that part of it may have descended, but you can see that this part of it is still ascending. So this thing it's still holding its own, and I'm going to go back. It's going to look a little wonky for a second here. We're going to go out to the big view. But that storm, that cross-section of that storm is definitely showing that we have hail aloft with that. These storms, again, I will show you with the telestrator. These up here, that's all north of the warm front. These out here, where we actually have a shear marker and tornado warning in Texas, these storms are just along that warm front right here. So that's the area where we have the highest threat for severe. I'll show you something here too in just a second. I got a lot of things I want to show you that could be beneficial to us. So let's go ahead and take a look at this significant tornado risk first off. Actually, I'm going to go down to the DMA version that shows us a closer in view, and you can see that this is going to be, it's not a very wide thing here. This is like 2 parishes wide, from Central Grant through Rapides into Central and Southern Evangeline and Allen Parish. This is going to be your concentrated threat area for strong tornadoes today. So that doesn't mean you're going to see one if you're in that location, but it does mean that this is where the warm front sets up. That's where the strongest wind shear is going to line up, and that's where the instability is. All the ingredients come together in this very narrow area, so it makes forecasting a little bit easier, because I think it's all hail threat to the north of this. I think to the south of this, I can't rule out a tornado, but right here in this red band, that is the location where this warm front is going to set up and give us that chance for some potentially strong tornadoes as they continue to run along the warm front. And then a significant hail risk. This is going to be for hail larger than golf balls or larger than 2 inches. Golf balls are 1.75, but we'll just say larger than golf balls up to baseball sized, as there is plenty of instability to go along with this as well. So let me go into the latest HRRR, and we'll just kind of fly by the seat of our pants, as we like to do. And I'm just going to go ahead and take you through this. This is our latest run here. This is the noon frame. You can see we have that storm out in Texas showing up, and then we're just going to see these cells continue to form along that warm front, and they stay pretty much like individual cells here, and that's not good news. And you can see they are all right through that significant risk for tornadoes and hail. It's going to be right through the center of the area, and then things do quiet down by like 7, 8 o'clock. It looks like, I think we will get things to move on to the east at that point, but we have a very busy 6 to 7 hours here across the area. So let's go back, take a look at radar, see what we have going on now. Also, if you've noticed, I have double warnings being posted, and it's been driving me nuts. I think I figured it out. So I think we're just going to go to those ones with the images, which is all I care about. And I want those to be out there for you because those look good, and they actually show you the text on the warnings, and then they show you what what the details are as well. So that last scan, you saw that update. We are down to pink here. We are seeing that hail core. It looks like dropping out a little bit. Severe hail, yeah, hail size down to 1 inch. So the significant hail threat with this storm has at least reduced a little bit over the last 5-10 minutes. Because I am close enough to this, I'm going to go back to the Lake Charles radar, and we're going to take a look in at this storm that is just north of Woodville, Texas, and it's going to continue to move on toward the east or east-northeast. Taking a look here, the BTI at 4.1, that's pretty low. Could be some severe hail, but that storm-based tracker right there is not showing me anything off the charts. But let's go ahead and take that off and look at the velocity, and we see there is some pretty significant rotation in here with this storm. Now, why am I looking at stuff in Texas? Because it's heading toward us. So that is your base velocity, storm relative. You see a clear signal here where we have red and green. The Fort Johnson radar is out. So for a couple more days, so we're not going to have that today, and that's a shame. We could really use that radar in service today. But we have Lake Charles, we have Shreveport, and we have this storm that is going to be coming right in through that area. So this is what we're going to be watching. These storms out in Texas, and then the hailers up north through the severe thunderstorm watch. You can see, I'll put it in motion. Let's see. So putting it in motion, there's your significant supercell that's coming through southeast Texas between Lufkin and Woodville. That's going to continue to track along that warm front off to the east or east-northeast. We'll see if this makes a turn to the right or if this one stays just north of us here in Alexandria. I'll have the cameras looking for this one for sure as it comes in. And then that storm there over Livingston looks like it at least has temporarily weakened. But you see these new elements that are coming in as the instability increases. We get a little more lift. We'll be watching for any of these to cross that warm front or sit along that warm front and continue on toward the east-northeast and bring us some problems. So, the Texas storm, probably about an hour and a half from the border, somewhere along the south end of Toledo Bend through maybe toward Anacoco, that area. That's where I'm kind of watching for this one to come across. I'll be monitoring that very closely. So, and I see they also did go to a special weather statement on this, so the hail threat has reduced for Natchitoches. I think you'll see some, probably small hail out of this, but it doesn't look like the golf balls that we at least potentially saw in Manny will be falling with that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and step away, probably grab a quick lunch or something, and then by the time this storm moves into our area, we will be in full coverage mode. As you can see, things are starting to get active around here. We've had the hail threat going on with those storms and those tornado threats to our west in Texas as they head our way. We're going to be watching it closely. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I will see you back here as needed throughout the day.